All right, Sunsara, thank you for that video report. So what else do you want to add to this report and to what the decisions were of the national meeting of Rise Up for Abortion Rights?
Yeah, so, at this national organizing summit that we had last weekend that Skylar mentioned, people did come together from all over this country in many, many different states across the country. And we took a decision that, given the looming decision coming from the Supreme Court, they're going to rule on this major case out of Mississippi that could gut or overturn completely nationwide abortion protections sometime this spring. It could come any day. It's expected May or June. That we need to raise the level of struggle across this country. There is a profound need for everybody who cares about justice, who cares about women, who cares about the future, to rise up for abortion rights. So we have called for a week of action for people to act in different sectors. Students are planning actions on campuses, culminating in a student walkout towards the end of that week. It's May 8th through 14th. People are acting, as you heard from Patricia. Some of the Spanish speakers are organizing to get Spanish-speaking communities together out on Mother's Day. There's a need for artists to take this up in different ways, for people in the medical professionals, in the sciences, in the arts, in many different ways, for people to act and raise their voices, big and small, so that cumulatively, by the end of this week of struggle, we have put this question of abortion rights for women, abortion on demand and without apology, or forced motherhood, enforced by the state, which is the trajectory we're on if we don't disrupt it, making everybody have to pick a side and show where they stand. And on May 14th, for this to culminate in a unified day of mass protest to refuse to let the Supreme Court take away abortion rights and to demand abortion on demand and without apology. And this is a major struggle that we are fighting to unleash, to really change the calculus of the Supreme Court, to fight to defeat this assault on abortion rights. And it's going to require profound unity of people from many different perspectives rising up together.
Yeah, and I think that's right. Look, this is a real uphill battle, but it can be won. It can be won if we get to a struggle involving hundreds of thousands and then millions of people refusing to go along with this. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about the open letter that Rise Up for Abortion Rights issued just earlier this week on Monday, and what the point of that was and what needs to be done.
Yeah, so some of the co-initiators of Rise Up for Abortion Rights, Merle Hoffman, Lori Sokol, and myself, we issued a public letter, and it's really to everybody of conscience, all the leaders and organizations concerned with abortion rights, concerned with civil rights, with LGBTQ rights, with environmental rights, and many, many religious communities, progressive people in many different spheres. We issued this letter to these individuals and publicly, saying that really the reversal of Roe v. Wade, the reversal of abortion rights in this country would constitute one of the most significant reversals of a fundamental right of the people in the history of this country. It would do irreversible, irreparable harm to women and girls, and that has to be stopped, and all people who can become pregnant. And it would accelerate a whole trajectory of a fascist assault on the rights of many other people, the white supremacy bound up with it, the hatred of LGBTQ people, that if we don't draw a line now, it's going to be much worse for every struggle for justice, everybody who cares about the future. So we put this out with great sincerity that this is a moment when people need to come together and rise above any differences, secondary issues that they might have with each other, ego, petty squabbles, and put the needs and interests of humanity first and stand up together May 14th to demand the Supreme Court not take away abortion rights and to demand abortion on demand and without apology. And we really raise in this letter the lessons of history when people have not found the ways to unite at sharp turning points, and that this is a time that we must rise together.
The call for this broad unity on May 14th is very important. The fight to stop the Supreme Court from effectively banning abortion is an uphill fight. It's a long shot to be able to do that, but it is a real shot. If hundreds of thousands of people and millions of people would take to the street in a sustained way, keep coming back, the Supreme Court could be compelled to retreat from whatever it is they're planning to do. And look, they are on track to overturn this, right? But history has shown there are times when massive struggle can create a situation where the legitimacy of the institution, an institution that is essential to how the United States has a facade of democracy, actually can function. And so they take this very seriously. There's a lot of worry. Are we going to be seen, we, the Supreme Court, as a political institution? If there is this kind of mass pressure, this battle could be won. But I want to say one more thing. If we win this battle, that's not the end of the struggle, because there's a Christian fascist movement in this country that's going to come back at us. And if we lose this struggle, and especially if we lose this struggle not having struggled, not having taken to the streets, we'll be in a far weakened position with these anti-abortion fanatics on fire, having won this victory and wanting to extend and go even further to take away the LGBTQ rights. There's a big battle in society that, standing aside from this battle, is going to be disastrous.
You know, Andy, as we have been on the ground here, and I think you saw some of it in the voices earlier we played, the young women that we've spoken to on the campuses here in Louisville, and it's the same thing across this country. I spoke to a young woman today. I asked her how she felt when the Kentucky ban on all abortions came down, and she said, you know, I feel degraded. And I said, how does it make you think the state looks at you as a woman? And she says, it means we don't matter. And she's right. These are young women whose whole future is in front of them, and there's generations coming behind them where they're looking out at something. Another young woman said, you know, I was violated when I was 16 years old, and I was terrified that I was pregnant. And imagine I hadn't had the right to abortion. This is real life and death and the conditions of women's lives here in Kentucky right now. And it is a threat to women and everybody who can become pregnant nationwide within weeks. So it is so important that we get out there, everybody watching, join in spreading the word about this abortion rights emergency, letting people know there's a way to fight this and there's a force to join with. And there's a need for broad unity and, yes, fierce struggle and unleashed fury right now to not let this go down.
Sunsara, thank you. Keep wearing that green kerchief and keep spreading the green, and we'll hear from you next week.
All right, Andy, thank you.
Good night. Take care.